little bit background of everybody. What you got? Check. Matt Smith, Senior Vice President and Head of 1X Studios. Just a little bit deeper with Matt. Matt has probably interviewed every single hip-hop artist from the 90s all the way up to the 2000s. He used to run, I think, one of the biggest rap shows of all time. What was the name of it one more time again? Rap City. He was the EP of Rap City. He's worked for BET, so he is... And he's been my closest friend, I would say brother, for a number of years. So welcome, Matt. DJ Spinfo has also worked on Hot 97 himself, and he's also from the South Bronx, and he has an event planning business. He's all about giving back. Trust me, he sent me so many messages. Shaun, make sure the kids are gonna know about this. Make sure they're gonna know about that. So he's very passionate about his community, about the South Bronx. So welcome, DJ Spinfo. And my hopefully new friend, Ebro, just showed up and said, if it's about the kids, I'm in the building. Everybody knows him from Hot 97. And I really wanted to bring him here because I think what I love about Ebro is that he's unapologetic. He's able to connect to people and communicate in a way that I think resonates. And so I really appreciate you coming to the panel. I appreciate all of you gentlemen coming to the panel. So let's set it off. We're talking about the business of hip hop. All right, so anybody here like hip hop music? All right, so I really wanted these gentlemen to kind of give us like the understanding of it, the business behind it. So I'm gonna start off with you, Ebro, and just give us a little 5-minute quick summary of the business of hip hop, what you think hip hop is and where it's going and so forth.
Well, hi, thanks for having me. And thanks for all the love, first and foremost. So when somebody says to me the business of hip hop, and you said 5 minutes on it, doesn't take 5 minutes. Anytime you see the word business in something, you gotta know it's about making money. So if you're in the business of hip hop, you gotta be figuring out how you're gonna make some money, or you're gonna make some money with a company, by yourself, with your friends, with your own company. It's about commerce, doing business. Hip hop is a whole other thing for me personally, which is a music culture and a way that our communities communicated, represented ourselves through art forms, and whether that be dance, music making, telling stories, rhyming, creating music. So that's not necessarily business, that's just love. We live in America, which is a capitalist society, and so guess what a lot of corporations do when they see a lot of people gathering, having a good time, and spending money? They figure out a way to monetize and exploit that situation for corporate gains. And when you're an artist or a creative, you have a choice whether or not you want to participate in those mechanisms, in those industries, in those corporations, and do a partnership or some sort of business deal to figure out how you can make money doing something that you love, and they can make money off of what they love to do, which is make more money, or make money off of you. So where's the business going? If I knew that, I'd probably be a billionaire. I don't know where it's going because it's ever changing. What we know today is specifically to hip hop, it's what you hear a lot of people talk about has the lowest barrier of entry, which it's the easiest thing to currently make, because you can make it on your laptop for $10, $20. You could distribute it onto a streaming service, and hopefully you're off to the races, right? Building community, using your social media outlets, or in real life creating events where you can connect with potential consumers who can consume your art, and hopefully you make money off of whatever that is. It could be because people just love the song. It could be because they like 5 seconds of it and they use it repetitively on TikTok, or they speed it up, a sped up version of it. Whatever, there's that version of making money off of it. And there's also publishing and other things, which is the actual words that are written. And when something starts to travel around and people start to consume it a lot, oftentimes you can leverage that and get yourself into a publishing situation, maybe a publishing deal, or you can do what is called an admin deal, which is you paying a company to go collect your royalties from people consuming something that you created. That's where it's at today. Where is it going? I don't know that answer.
Right. So let me ask you a question, Matt. as far as you've been in hip hop since the 90s, and you came from California to really focus on being in hip hop, and you went to producing one of the biggest rap shows in the early 2090s. So how do you get there? How does somebody young that wants to get into production, other than just rapping, how do they get in to find an angle in hip hop like you did and become successful in it?
That's a great question. I think everybody's gonna have, like, there's no one path. Everyone's gonna have their own individual journey. For me, and actually this generation right now, content creation is on fire. There's people with no barriers of entry like there used to be. People with their iPhones can create original content, post it, and start to monetize and create their own careers. But back in the prehistoric day when I started, I went to college, majored in film, graduated, and I had a job at Bank of America, and wasn't nobody knocking on my door thinking, oh, why don't you come work for us? So I was just kind of lost. How do I get in the game? I ended up quitting my job. I was a bill collector. I was horrible. I'd be calling people like, yo, can you pay? No, you can't pay?
I ain't got it. All good.
Exactly.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Right. Ended up quitting that job, and I found a job back in, we used to look in the newspaper, but I found a job looking for like a runner. Went to a production company in Burbank, Hollywood, and Los Angeles, where all I had to do was drive around the town and drop off film or pick up film or paint a green screen or just do whatever they needed. It was just basically an entry-level position. But the best thing about that position, I had the humility to know my degree didn't mean anything. I needed to find a way in. I took the job, and unbeknownst to me, like 6 months in, this production company started doing all sorts of hip-hop content, but had nobody that worked there that was into hip-hop. So they were coming to me, hey, can you help write questions? We're gonna interview Mary J. Blige, or hey, can you come join this producer on this set and just advise or help? I ended up being right place at the right time, and then took that opportunity, and it transitioned into producing, being like a lower level producer, and then my career kind of skyrocketed, probably because I was at a small production company. A lot of my friends started at MTV or BET, where there's a whole lot of people all trying to climb. I was in a small production company that started doing urban content, and I was the only person in the house that cared about hip hop. So my career then flourished, and then I ended up producing a lot of content in the late 90s, doing Rap City, and then going on to do a lot of other hip hop content. But basically, I would say do what you love. Be humble early in your career. Find ways to get in the game and be around people who are doing, whether it's content, whether it's fashion, whether it's whatever your passion is, or if it's adjacent or close to your passion. Just getting in the game and finding a way to contribute and learn, if it's storytelling. But once you're in the game, you have to, grind, work hard, prove yourself worthy, and then opportunities start to present themselves.
And I think as young people, it's important to take what Abro and Matt are saying as far as like owning a space. Like I brought Ebro here today because I think he owns that space of being able to articulate these things and get them across to young people. Matt, he owned like the hip hop space and whatever he do, and he was a hip hop guy to go to. If you want to do production around hip hop, he's the guy that you call. So I think as young people, you have to really figure out like how to own a space. How when somebody looks at you, they know that this is what you do better than 99% of the people in the world. Spinful, DJ Spinful, I'm gonna go to you now. You went from being on the radio, Hot 97, and transitioning, going back to your roots, back to the community, and getting involved in event planning, production. How did you do that, and did hip hop help get you there?
Well, absolutely. Anybody here represent the Bronx? Where's the Bronx at? Can I get a year? So listen, ultimately, man, my journey began long, long ago, St. John's University, and I had the opportunity to swing the bat at the idea of being on radio. When somebody plants an idea in your head, you should consider finding ways to navigate through your life to make that that idea come to fruition. So ultimately, this man right here, I sent him multiple proposals. I sent CDs to Funkmaster Flex. I opened up for Mr. C back in the day. And once I had that vision and it was very clear of what I wanted to attain, conscious thought, constantly thinking about what you want to do and applying some action, equals magic. When you consciously think about what you want to do in your life, no matter what it is, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a DJ, a rapper, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to sit back and consciously think about what it is that you want to attain. Don't ever look at the next man. Never try to be like the next person, because you have your own magic within you. And I believe growing up in the South Bronx gave me my own tools, gave me my own route to navigate the world in my own way. I never looked at anyone next to me or anyone around me to be like them. I would learn from them. So I believe, when you think about hip-hop artists in general, there's such a large array, right? You got the Lil Waynes, you got the LL Cool J's, you got the J. Cole's, who was a good friend of mine. I went to St. John's with him. And I reflect on times when I was at St. John's talking to Cole, and he would talk to me about his dreams of being on radio and getting down with Jay-Z. And I looked at him like he was crazy. I was like, nah, that's a wild-ass dream for a broke kid in college. But then, I had to take a step back and realize this is what life is about. Your dreams are the architects of your reality. You have to dream first. You have to write it down, and then you have to apply some action. So I think the institution of hip-hop and the ideas of creating narratives and stories that people were able to digest across the globe from the 70s and 80s up into present day is embedded in my DNA. Growing up in an environment where I was able to witness the changes and the different iterations of what hip-hop is and what it's becoming. To piggyback off the question you asked me earlier in regards, not ask me, but ask the panel in regards to like where is hip-hop going, I want to answer that. I don't know either, but my goal and my hope is that we find a creative way collectively to align with truth. I think artists, there's something special in all of us. There's something that's innate in all of us. And when we speak truth, when we speak about our real experiences, people like to gravitate towards that because we can all identify with the human experience. So all of those things kind of sum into who I am right now and why I decided to create the space called Sankofa House in the South Bronx. This is the newest baby that I am nurturing right now. It's a social space in the South Bronx where we focus on upscale events, everything from weddings to bar mitzvahs, birthday celebrations. We also do a ton of community enrichment events like yoga, capoeira, meditation, sound healing, and things of that nature. And one of the reasons why I'm in that space is because growing up in the South Bronx, everybody has something to say about the Bronx. The Bronx is this, the Bronx is that. And I've realized as a grown man that if we want things to change in our community, we have to be the change that we want to see. We have to put down our phones at times, and we have to really meditate on what it is that we want to see take place in our community, because it ain't gonna be the government, it ain't gonna be the next door neighbor, it's gotta be you, it's gotta start within. So I kind of went into a tangent, but ultimately that's how I ended up in the space that I'm in right now, for the community, to try and give back something and try to provide a special location that has an embodiment of my experience and the community that I currently live in, all embedded in it.
Excellent. So my question to you, a young person sitting in the audience today aspiring to be an Ebro, like what was your path to success, and what advice would you give them in 2024 to get to that journey where like you are a spokesman for hip hop? People listen to what you have to say, even political. I love your political views, by the way.
Thank you. The business that I am currently in hosting and broadcast radio is a shrinking one. So if you were to ask me, should you pursue it, I would probably say no, because it's getting smaller. There's not a lot of opportunities. There's not a lot of people investing in it. And it would be the same answer if somebody said, I want to work for a magazine. You'd be like, whoa, what magazine? Where's a magazine? Who reads magazines? What's going on? So similarly is radio. Now, if being in broadcast radio or broadcast journalism or being a broadcaster of some sort, I would also say, look, if that's your passion, don't tie it specifically to a music genre. Because there's all types. You could be in news broadcasts, you could be TV broadcasts, there's other types of broadcast. I just happen to have been privileged enough to make my path in the music broadcast space and in that media space, and specifically in hip hop. Now, I also started when I was 15 years old. I got an internship. I was outside, y'all. Like I was really outside. And I knew a lot of people, and I had to plug on some things that we don't need to get into today. And I met some DJs, and they was like, hey, call call this person, because I was like, how do you get into radio? I didn't know nothing about radio. I was finessing. And so it turned out that the high school I went to play ball had a radio station at it. I never went to that class. I wasn't even really into radio like that. But I was like, wait, but I could go work at the radio station because we got a radio station at school and I can get school credit for it? Aha, this is live. I'm doing that. So anyway, ended up getting an internship, and I had good grades, so I wasn't a problematic student. So I had good grades, and my coach at the time was like, yeah, go ahead, seventh period, going over to the radio station. But I ended up knowing a lot of people at the radio station because I also had to hook up at the mall. We don't need to get into what I was doing at the mall. But at any rate, that one thing led to another, and I ended up being able to work in the studio and help them prepare the music. They was like, yo, pull this. And because I was outside at the time, I knew all the different high schools, so I knew what was popping, where the parties were, et cetera, et cetera. It's 1990. There was no real hip-hop station, so they wasn't even into hip-hop like that. It was like a super corny radio station, and all my friends made fun of me for working there, but I got free tickets. And I got to spin at the clubs. And so once again, this is the 90s, so this don't happen anymore. So I was 15, 16-year-old in places I wasn't supposed to be at. So clutch. Very important. Very important. But anyway, I just used my ability to be cool with people and be somebody that, people wanted to work with as a way to learn the business. And so once I was in there, things started to click for me. Now, I did have an interest. One of my biggest interests was anthropology and sociology. That's what I was going to go study in college. And because I was already working at the radio station, I was making some nice money. I was doing clubs. I was on the air. I was doing certain things. I knew where all the parties were. I was throwing parties. We was throwing concerts, me and my college buddies. My advisor in college, this is how old I am, my pager would always be going off in class. And I had a cell phone. And at this time in history, if you had a pager and a cell phone, they was looking at you like you was doing something wrong. I wasn't. I was doing something right at this point in my life. And so he was like, listen, come back to college when you can focus on school. School will always be here. You already have a career. And it was great advice at the time. And so I just continued to pursue understanding radio, not just from the musical aspect, but from the actual business. Right? Because once again, when I look back on it, one of the ways I got to this point in life was understanding the finesse of it all. What is the objective that blank entity is trying to achieve? And how can I figure out how I could come up off said objective? And so I literally applied that at every aspect of what I was doing, whether that was being in radio or now fast forward to, I'm an executive at Apple Music, and I'm damn near a 50-year-old man, and I stayed out of trouble. And, I helped some people with their music careers, and I helped some broadcast people and, did the right thing with my life. And I'm blessed for that. So I share that with y'all.
You got the Flatbush big up. You got the Flatbush big up.
Say again?
You got the Flatbush big up. We just gave you the horns for that. You got the Flatbush big up right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I respect. Always an air horn blessed. Always. But I share it in that manner with y'all because I know you're at a point in your life where you haven't identified really what your skill is yet. And school isn't for everyone. But I will say that school will help you identify the skill. Some people have a great skill with people, right? Talking to people. Some people have a great skill organizing people. Some people have a great skill creating things that entice people to feel something, right? Some joy, some pain, something, right? Provoke an emotional thing for them. Some people have a way with words, but they're not really that social. You ever met somebody be like, yo, they wrote that, they said that, or you hear somebody recorded material, be like, yo, that's you? But they're not good in just having a conversation with other people. But they don't know that that's a skill. And we live in a world, unfortunately, where some of these, less common skills are not celebrated. Matter of fact, we're here at the Met. I'm sure if you walk around and learn about some of the artists in this building that created art or created culture or created whatever, they weren't who they were, and till they were who they were. They were probably ostracized by their communities, or, you know, were politics were against them, and they were considered some sort of, you know, annoyance in society because they were thinking different or trying to express differently. And I just put that out there to you all, that this world that we live in, it's not always a neat fit for all of us. But really trying to identify what you're good at, and then trying to apply that in a way that can help you create a life for yourself is really the challenge. Your journey may be very different than the next person, but it's your journey, and if it's a positive one, an uplifting one that's showing love to yourself, to your loved ones in your community, I guarantee you're gonna find success. We articulate and act like success is just monetary gain. That's not a fact. And I'm sure we could probably say some names of people who have all the money in the world and are very, very, very unhappy, right? And it's easy to say that when you ain't got no money, right? When you like, shit, I wish I had X, blank, blank, blank. But something comes with that, right? A sacrifice comes with that. A significant life change comes with that, you know, and sometimes a level of stress comes with that can break you as a human being. So that may not be what's best for you. But I just put that challenge to all you young people in this room today to find what you love, as someone said up here, and then also find your gift, right? And when you can put those two things together, right, you can live a successful life based on being healthy and happy. Right? And that's ultimately what I was able to find in my path. Now, because I work in corporate America, I deal with things that I don't necessarily love. But that's the give, right? Because what I do love is hip hop. But in being next to hip hop and trying to participate and give something to something I love and create space for something I love, oftentimes there are things I don't love. Right? In the capitalism side, and the commerce side, and the business side. But unfortunately, that's being a grown-up. And so you got to figure out how to find that balance, because in any relationship or anything that you do in life, it won't all be 100% things you love. You will have to accept some, good with the bad.
I hope you guys are listening to, these gentlemen's journey of success and what sacrifice it takes. Like Ebro intern, Matt has interned, Spin has interned, Matt. So there's a level of, I think in this generation, you want instant satisfaction, instant gratification, but you have to understand, you have to kind of put in the work. And then like Ebro was saying, yeah, he's in this space where it may not be a comfortable space for everybody, but he's finding his way through that space to build relationships, uplift himself, move his career forward while navigating through that. And I think once you find out your journey and your path, like he always comes back to his core essence. I love hip hop. So everything he's doing, even if it's corporate or whatever it is, he's building his own path towards his love of hip hop, but spinning it for his way and his love of life, was not directing necessarily around money. And my professor always told me that when I graduated from college, he was like, get the experience, be like a rat, run from hole to hole, and the money will come. Just gain knowledge. And I want to ask a question to you. Well, I'll leave it open to the floor, but it may drive a little towards you, Matt, as well. Is, for a young person sitting in this audience, and I know I wouldn't understand all the facets of opportunities within hip-hop, other than just holding a mic and rhyming. What are some hidden gems that young people can take advantage of in the hip-hop realm where they can, maybe start making money, start doing certain things and building their brand and building your name? Where would you say, people that come across you, I don't know why young people don't know they can do this, they can do that. So where do you see the opportunities in your end? And I'll let everybody go down the line with it.
I mean, I would say in general, hip-hop 50 years in, it's really permeated the world. So anything you want to do, you can find a way to infuse the culture in it, whether it's making music, whether it's fashion, whether it's investing in content, or you can find a way. But in terms of, I would say right now, it just seems to me like content creation is the wild, wild west, open for everybody, because back when people first started working in media, you had to get a job at a media platform be it a major radio station or a television network, whereas now people are posting their own shows, posting their own content, telling their own stories. So I mean, that's one new facet or new wave in recent years. But in general, I feel like, hip hop is kind of, it's everywhere. I feel like you can find ways to infuse the culture in anything you're doing.
We had entrepreneurs on stage. We had women in business on stage. We had talking about credit. And they all come back to like the storytelling. And I say it all the time, like storytelling, content creation is almost like the new gold of 2024. It's a new commodity. And I'm horrible at it. But if you young people, like you guys are so creative, and if you guys can tell stories, bring things to life, that is gold today. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I just want young people to grasp that. And the idea is, like, I always tell my son, who's in the building right there, and I tell my kids, like I don't want to be the person to tell you what to do. I just want to kind of guide you, because you guys are the new generation. You guys know what's happening, know what's cool. And if you can do what these gentlemen have done to brand that thing that that's special and bring it out to the forefront and build a demand for it, that will find success. So I know you got something to say. Did you spin for you see with the mic?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to Ebro last.
Yeah, just to extend on what these guys are speaking of, I would say the most important thing is for you to align with education. Educate yourself on the industry. Make sure you're following those who are making waves in the industry, those people that are on social media, those people that are touring the globe. You guys are living in a very interesting era where everything's democratized. Everything is in your pocket. So you can use that thing to distract yourself every half an hour or really educate yourself on what's going on in the playing field. You have every song, you have every book, you have every podcast in your pocket. So you can really accelerate the level of education and the level of information that you can download at a faster rate than any time in human history. This is the best time and it's the best era to gather information and kind of put your own spin on it, rather. You have AI now, you have ChatGPT, so everything that we were doing 10, 20 years ago, you guys can do it so much faster with your own lens and with your own intuition and with your own innate creativity. So get out there and do it.
I would say collaboration. In my experience and from people I've learned from and talked to and watched be successful, really in all industries, but specifically in music, it's been about collaboration. It's been an amazing producer and an amazing artist, some vocalist, whether that be singer, writer, both. Poet becomes MC with producer. They work together on a thing. Right? It's always been about the marketing person, the person who had the vision to create the party posters for the DJ, right? The person who was making the flyers for the DJ and who linked up with the promoter who knew all the people to bring to the party. Collaboration, right? And I think because one of the downsides of the current space we're in is frequently we can get caught in kind of like a DIY space where it literally is like, I'm going to do this myself because I have everything right here on my phone. So I'm going to try to do all aspects of the business or the production or the event or the whatever by myself. Which, listen, there are some people who are great at many things, right? So if that's you, more power to you. But I will say people who take it the farthest over the extended period of time, because that's really how another way I measure success is, can you sustain the thing that you're doing? It's not just a season, it's not just a year, it's not just 5 years, it's literally you've been able to do this for an extended period of time and create a legacy. That's real success, right? And so I would go to collaboration. And also, I think, and I know people who collaborate on social media and have met people on social media and managers, other songwriters. A lot of collaboration does happen. I just wanted to add that in there. And I would also add in, how many people in here are interested, by raise of hands, you want to make some sort of music? Whether that's rapping, singing, playing, drumming, guitaring, writing. Okay, just a few. How many people just want to be in the business of music of some sort? Raise of hands. How many people have no idea what they want to do? which is totally fine, by the way. You're not supposed to like have it completely figured out, which is fine. I would just say, for those that want to be in music and in the creation of music, learn how to play an instrument. Not that you need to learn how to play it on stage, right? Or you want to play it on stage, but so you know how the notes go together that make it feel good to the audience. Because there's a lot of people who want to make music and they don't know that the tones of their voice don't match the beats that they're putting their voice on. Or they don't know that the notes that they're singing are slightly sharp or off, and they're wondering why people aren't connecting to it. I think there's something innate in all of us as human beings that when we hear something that's out of key, we might not be able to say it's the key it should be in, but it just doesn't sound right. And I think there's a lot of music, and and the excuse now is, I'll just put some auto-tune on it, which also is like, now you sound like so many other people making music because everybody using auto-tune, so what's really special? But just learn the music side, and the same thing for people who are interested in business, right? Learn, read, there's tons of books on the actual business of music and any industry that you might be interested in.
Can I follow up on that? I love that point. And I would say, just because we have all this technology with the phones and the internet, it does not mean you should not master your craft and learn the fundamentals. So if you want to make movies or videos or take photos or make music, learning an instrument or learning the basics of what makes a great film or how to storytell, or whether if it's investment, if it's banking, like really learn through the tools that you have at your disposal, researching it, going online, podcast, or finding information that can help you master your craft, so then you can actually, use these tools that you have, but you're bringing excellence, or you're bringing your music's in tune, or your film is in focus, or you're understanding at least the basics and the fundamentals, and then you put your modern day genius to it, but learn those fundamentals.
So a lot of you guys, collectively, you guys have probably met with almost every probably hip-hop artist that existed, I'm sure. What are some of the financial mistakes you see a lot of young hip-hop artists, or just artists in general, make, and that it's kicking their butt today, and they're like the regrets, financial-wise, when they get this new money, they get into the game, and then they start to live? What do you think?
Can I flip that real quick?
Sure.
I'll tell you an example of the opposite of that. Years ago, when 50 Cent was first blowing up, I went and did an interview with him, and the record label was coming to meet me at BET to drive me to do this interview, and the record label exec was running late, and he was nervous, and everybody around, basically, long story short, 50 Cent from the beginning of his career has been about his business in a very impressive way. Like, I know he has this gangster or troll or whatever the image that he puts out there, but behind the scenes, the way he handles his business was built for success. He handled his business so, like, don't be late. When I met up with him, giving him instructions or questions or telling him what we wanted to do, he was listening intently. He was very much on it. I've just always been impressed, like, behind the curtain of how he handles his business, and now he's got the music hits for decades. He's got the Power Universe on television. He's got the businesses, the Vitamin Water, all these different examples of success. But it came from a very disciplined mentality that I saw when I first interviewed him. Like, he was just really on top of his thing. So just being on top of your business is something that will benefit you, and it's a key to winning. So
I love the pivot, and I'm not going to deal with the negative. I think you're right. Let's flip it. Let's talk about the success guys that's done it well, rather than...
Well, we could talk about the success and the ingredients for that kind of, what he said, the discipline part, is facts. You see the same thing with Jay-Z. You see the same thing with J. Cole. You see the same thing with Kendrick Lamar. You see the same thing with Drake. These people are not late. They are hard workers. They are, they're not playing around. And they are very about their business and understanding the business. But on the unsuccessful part, I would like to put out there the biggest mistake, and this isn't just in hip-hop, this is in money. The biggest mistake that many people make is thinking that it's going to last forever. Right? And, whether that's the NFL, the NBA, Basically, think of anything where people are getting an exorbitant amount of money, and usually and not being accustomed to dealing with that amount of money or understanding how money actually works, and then understanding the ebbs and flows of just the life cycle in entertainment or whatever industry you're in, right? You can have a great job in whatever. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, who knows if business is going to slow down for you, pick up for you, whatever it is. And if you start spending beyond your means and things start to slow down for you and you don't have a plan for that, it's going to be a problem. We see it with rappers a lot just because, I think, they're in a spotlight and many of them are holding, cash money up to their ear and talking about their clothes and their jewelry. So they put the spotlight on themselves that what they think they're doing right now, they're rich. And in their minds, where many of them come from, they might be rich relative to where they've started, but they're not wealthy. You know what I mean? That's a short-term mindset.
What's the difference?
Rich is usually short-term, and and there's obviously levels to that. Wealthy is something that you could pass on to your generations, right? And something that is more ingrained in a way of being than it is just having things in the moment, right? But managing that overhead, managing expectations, and knowing that this doesn't last forever. Everybody's time comes, everybody gets cold, the curtain closes and goes down on everybody, and what are you gonna do when it's time to pivot? I know some professional athletes that deal with the same thing, right? They have $40 million, whatever, $100 million contracts, and they're 25 years old. They're going to be 45 one day. That's 20 years later. What are you going to be doing with yourself? How are you going to be managing your money? You know what I mean? And I think unfortunately, so many people are not accustomed and come from communities where that type of thinking is applied, where you can actually plan that far out in advance. I think we have a question.
We're going to let Spinfold go, and then we're going to go to questions because we have 5 minutes of questions. So gather up your questions. Ethan, my son, get your question ready, okay?
No, I'll just sum it up, man. Ultimately, you guys want to live life with a strong team around you. You want to have an opportunity to reach out to all those assets that are going to help your life develop in the direction that you envision, whether it's someone that does real estate, someone that is a financial advisor. You want to have friends that are in those different realms because it's so much better and so much easier to gain access to that information when you have people in your circle that are doing the things that you want to do. So we can jump into the questions.
Questions. Anybody have questions? Raise your hand. I'm going to go in the back, too. So the back, I'm coming for you guys. Shout out to the first 2 rows. Give them a round of applause. They asked so many questions. They were excellent today. Thank you, guys. Where are you guys from?
Each other. Brooklyn, research and service.
Okay.
They from somewhere.
Okay, we from research and services. So, all right. So my question is, what is the difference between being rich and wealthy? Like I want indicators between being rich versus wealthy. That's it.
You're asking all of us or me or
Just
like
in
what
general,
is it?
I think you because you were talking about it.
Me?
No, I was
you
talking
was talking
about.
about.
Yeah, I was talking about.
Sorry. Yeah, so I want to know what's the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
In my opinion, the difference is short-term and long-term. Okay. Rich is something that is a moment, where wealth is something that is a part of a lifestyle, how you live and what you could pass on to your loved ones and things like that. Because wealth isn't necessarily a monetary thing either. Like they say, health is wealth, right? Knowledge is wealth. These things that can, help you be better over an extended period of time other than just in the moment.
Also, they say wealth is more of a mindset. So, like, you can be rich in the moment, but if you're not smart with your money, like a wealthy mindset, you may not have as much as the rich person, but you know how to build that wealth or you know how to grow that wealth because of the way you're looking at your money.
Absolutely. Generational.
But listen, if you want to be rich, that's cool too.
Rich is a great
Nobody's
place to be.
knocking rich. I hope
Facts.
that's not, if you want to be rich, I just hope that you can spin that rich into wealth.
My question is, who motivated you guys to do the business hip hop?
Who motivated us to do which part?
The business of hip hop.
I just was I was a kid and hip hop was what everybody was into. My cousins, everybody was around, was what was going on in my neighborhood. So I wasn't even thinking about the business part until, you know, obviously I got older and wanted to have a job and work in places that were conducting business, and hip hop was a part of the content that they were distributing, so I had to learn the business. And there's still a lot that I don't know about the music industry because I'm not in the music industry as much as I'm in music media. So there's things about how sales and publishing and these contracts that artists sign that it's still foreign to me after all these years.
Yeah, I would say for me, I didn't have a plan to get into it. I was just a part of the culture, kind of that wave one when hip hop was just everywhere and it's a part of you, you're living it, loving it, and then at a certain point I fell into an opportunity and saw that there was a pathway to combine the passion to a career, but I didn't have a plan for it.
Pretty much echoing their sentiment. I kind of fell into it. Like I said, the conversation I had at St. John's with Cole was one of those things that sparked my interest in getting into the business because he said, I'm going to get down with Jay. And I just looked around and said, you know what, I'm going to get with Flex. And then I really started working towards it. And then, boom, it just kind of fell in my lap. And I started taking my life a little bit more seriously. I started taking my actions a lot more serious and started realizing, like, that was a conscious thought. And once I applied that action, things started happening.
Hello, I'm from West Brooklyn.
I'm sorry, what's West Brooklyn?
Oh.
Got it, bang.
All right. Okay. My question is, would you recommend for small creators who want to make music, would you say that it's like ethically okay to pirate music production software, even plugins, or even samples or anything like that?
Ethically okay. The term pirate makes me think no. But people be stealing and stuff. So if you did do it and you didn't get permission and it got popping out here, just know they're gonna come for you. And they're gonna want their money. So you ain't gonna get too far. But yeah, so I would say it's the ethics part of it sounds like no, the answer is no, right? That sounds bad. That sounds not good. Yeah. Sounds like not what you want.
We got another question down there.
We should not condone whatever you just said from this stage and on these microphones. Is basically what I'm saying.
Hi, I'm Kayla from West Brooklyn Community High School. You were talking about success. This is a question for Ebro. What are your thoughts on Uzi's success?
I love Uzi Vert. I feel like, you know, he still hasn't become the rock star he said he would become, though. I'm still waiting. You know, because the rock star, listen, maybe I took it literal, but the rock stars I knew, they were selling out MetLife Stadium. They could sell out Madison Square Garden 8-10 times. They got hits on the radio everywhere. Songs is everywhere. So he told me he was going to become a rock star. And I know that interview, how long ago was that interview? It was like what? Was that 6? 6, so most people that come up to me and talk to me about Uzi Vert now was probably like 10 years old at that time, was just getting into the internet. And they was tight. They was mad that I did that to Uzi Vert. And like I said before, time will tell. Where you at, my guy? Uzi, where you at, bro?
Oh, why he talking like that?
Where you at, bro? Didn't he just retire too? Wasn't he just like, yo, I'm tired, I'm done? Come on, son. You're supposed to be a rock star, fam. What's happening?
Yo, hello? Yo, I got a question, yo.
I do too. Listen, that's my friend. I see Uzi right now, it's love.
Oh,
But I'm a pop mine too.
Excuse me? Yo, I have a question. As an artist, how do you get onto the radio? How do you get onto a radio station? And then, like, do you need a deal? Or, like, and if not, how do you get a deal? Like, what's the fastest way?
Well, so at this current juncture in music, you probably should have some sort of movement that is a transferable movement, meaning if you're in the Bronx, people in Brooklyn know about you. And if you're in Jersey, people in, Queens know about you. Like, it's something that's moving. Like, and it's something that's, people are talking about and it's popping for you. A lot of times people think the radio is going to help them get popping, and that's not necessarily true. So often now with streaming, I can speak for us at the radio, there's so many things, and there's 100,000 songs coming out every day on streaming services. And so when we're looking for like what's really going on, we have DJs that are in the clubs. So if you got a song that's popping in the club, the odds of you getting to the radio are higher than if you're just not popping anywhere. Or if you're popping, your song is moving around on TikTok or something and people are making videos with it and people can actually see it popping, then boom. I'm trying to think. I don't think Cash Cobain had a deal when we started playing him on the radio. Fabio didn't have a deal. Pop Smoke actually didn't have a deal. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. He didn't have a deal when we started playing him on the radio. So it's not about the deal. It's really about are you even popping in your community? Are you popping at your high school? Like, and that's not like shade or nothing. That's just like real talk. Like, if you haven't been able to galvanize a community of some sort with your music and your presence and the things you have to say, what makes it gonna happen for you on a different platform if you can't do it in real life? So I think that's what I would challenge any artist to just try to get your school, get your neighborhood, get your Instagram followers, get all of them, get popping.
I got a question, bro. I go to South Brooklyn Community High School for me. But alright, look. I had a question, look. How do you stay relevant in the rap industry for like as long as you have? Because you've been doing this for a long time. I'm not gonna lie, both of y'all been doing this for a long time. I know I grew up watching you at 8 years old, 7 years old. That was 9 years ago.
For me, I don't know if it's not a one size fits all. I just do what I provide the service that I provide for the companies that hire me to provide the service. And I have an opinion, and because I have a track record of success of, either introducing people to music or, identifying artists that could, potentially contribute something great to hip hop and supporting their music. I continue to have great relationships, and I think also too, I've taken the approach many years ago that I was going to try to have conversations with artists that were more in depth than kind of like chasing blogs. And so if you look, most of my interviews aren't really like, I don't be on the Shade Room or the Baller Alerts and all of that because I'm not really doing those type of interviews. So I really just try to have real music first, knowledgeable conversations, and I think that's been appreciated and fortunately for me, afforded me some continued employment for now. But, look, it could be over tomorrow. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Uzi Vert might call my bosses and be like, yo, tired of him. He out of here.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming out. You guys had a great time. Stand up. Give them all a standing and tell them stand up. I want to thank DJ Spinfo. I want to thank Ebro. I want to thank Matt for all coming out and supporting this initiative. It's our first time at the Met. We brought in our people here, so we're going to try to do it every year. Don't leave. We have a tour coming up, and then you still have your gift bags and everything to get to. So stick around for the tour and stick around for your gifts.
Yo, we about to do a fun raffle too, yo. Everybody take a seat. Grab a seat, y'all. Grab a seat. We got some more raffles for y'all.